On the 9th of May, the sun always shines in Moscow. The Kremlin has made it so, dispersing the clouds to ensure that nothing can spoil the parade rumbling through Red Square. It shines on an array of tanks and rocket launchers, on soldiers in contemporary and period uniform marching alongside, and on an ever-shrinking group of elderly veterans, chests bristling with medals. It banks off the wings of jets soaring overhead as they release trails of white, blue, and red smoke. And then it shines on the Russian president as he informs the nation and the world that they are there because on that day in 1945 a darkness lifted with the surrender of Nazi Germany. May 9th is Russia's greatest secular holiday, commemorating a war that itself is crowned with superlatives. In the deadliest conflict ever, Russia led the Soviet Union in crushing the largest army the world had yet seen, and thereby saved humanity from the worst evil it has ever known. In so doing, no country has paid a higher price in human lives. The official number of dead in the war now stands at nearly 27 million, or approximately 1 out of every 7 Soviet citizens, man, woman, and child. Victory Day, as the holiday is formally known, marks when Russians of all ages show unbounded pride in that generation's triumphant sacrifice. They are encouraged to take to the streets bearing photographs of family members who served, and often perished, in the epic struggle against Hitler's forces. Through the blood of the fallen, it is claimed, they share a sacred kinship that transcends politics and class, bringing Russians together across 11 time zones as one family united by the war. No other nation remembers World War II in such an elaborate annual ritual, and no other has made it the centerpiece of a civic religion, a subject of veneration so strong that Russia's role in that victory is often evoked as fulfilling providential destiny. However it might be expressed on that day, this conviction also rests on the belief, often operating as an undeniable truth, that this chapter of Russian history is, in fact, not unique. World War II was not the first time Russia has been called to play a salvational role, not the first time its people and land have been sacrificed to protect others, indeed whole civilizations, from destruction. Instead, collective martyrdom, particularly for the sake of Europe, is a recurring chapter and, more importantly, is one embedded in the very saga of how Russia arose as a nation. Shared across the centers of authority, political, religious, military, academic, the narrative behind this conviction takes us back 7 centuries before the Nazi invasion and reads roughly as follows. A nation born of war. In the 13th century, Russia, as we understand it now, didn't exist. The lands from Kiev to Moscow, and then continuing northeast to where the Volga originates, were dominated by East Slavs, in whose history Ukrainians and Byelorussians can also see themselves. They shared a common language and faith, Orthodox Christianity, which created conditions for a common identity, but not as part of a single state. Instead, a series of principalities made up what is collectively known as Rus, and much like Greek city-states, some might unite to face an outside foe. Too often, however, the enemy was to be found among their own, as internecine conflict was the norm. This virus, born by princes' egos and avarice, would plague Rus until a more devastating force caught it by surprise and crushed it: the Mongols. While foreign attacks had been a constant threat to Russia's ancestors, nothing matched the destruction wrought by the Mongols when they invaded in 1237. Medieval chroniclers describe them as a satanic whirlwind. Resistance literally was futile. Every army